Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just tilt it. I don't want it too low because then you'll see that I'm actually wearing pajamas.
Which you've just told the nation anyway, so you know.
Oh, the nation doesn't care.
No one cares.
Armed to the hilt.
Yeah, I'm only armed with shame. Shame. Shame.
Where's the bell?
Me for not
I
being
don't have a
dressed up.
bell, but I do have a YouTube video of the bell.
Shame. Shame.
That's love that for me.
So you can shame us throughout the entire video then?
Yeah, basically.
I do that anyway, girl. Like...
It's true.
So, what was our favourite episode / book / character?
I haven't read the books. I'm on a booktube channel and haven't read the books, but you know.
Outrageous.
Have you read them all, Hannah?
Yeah, so let me tell you how I was introduced to Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. So it was New Year's Day. I'd been at a house party. All of my friends were still very much unconscious upstairs. And I have this thing where if I stay at someone's house, I am always the first awake.
I thought you were going to say I always go through their books.
The first thing I do is I rummage through their stuff. No, but like, it was a friend that I knew really well, and I used to spend quite a lot of time at his house anyway. His mum and my mum were really close, so we've known each other for like a ridiculous amount of time. So I just helped myself to like his TV buttons whilst everyone else was asleep, and stuck on the first thing I saw, and it came up as like a recommended thing, and it was on Sky Atlantic. You could download the first episode.
Yeah.
So I downloaded the first episode, then the second episode, then the third episode, and by that point, loads of my friends had come downstairs, like had slowly like woken up. And we ended up watching the first 3 episodes or 4 episodes because they were the only ones you could download. Yeah. I then went home and binged the entire first series, then realised that there was only the first series, but that there were 6 books. So I then went back and read all of the books, and only me and my friend Charlie read the books. Everyone else only watched the TV series. So as the next few series came out, we would still like meet up and watch them all together. And we would just be sat there like, when the Oberyn thing happened, for example, me and Charlie were sat there like, we know what's going to happen, and everyone else was like, no.
I was a no screamer. Like I couldn't fucking believe it. I'll be honest with you. I haven't finished the series because after that happened, I was like, I don't have any good feelings about the direction that the show's heading in now, because that seemed very out of character for the show, a show that kills people all the time, because it just felt too gratuitous for me. And I was like, I'm out. And then season 8 was happening, and my friends are like, they'll bring it back. They've got to fix it for season 8. And I was like, And then the end of season 8 happened, and my friends were like, wasn't very good. And I was like, oh, wasn't it? Maybe you should have listened to your friend who had a feeling about how bad things were going to get.
I think I was just willing it to get better, because the problem was that they ran out of book, and then they started changing the way it was kind of going. And what I liked about the books in particular is heroes would die or fall when they deserve to. So like when they make a mistake. So like Robb Stark, Oberyn with his pride, things like that. Like those were all moments where actually it was completely I just saw that like they you know, they deserve to die because they messed up, but the villains would always die at the height of their power. So Joffrey Baratheon dies at his own wedding. He's about to get everything he wants. That's when he dies. And like Ramsay Bolton, he's about to get everything he's ever wanted, and then he dies. And it's those things that I thought was really, really great. In the last 3 seasons, by this point, they don't want to kill off any of the main characters. They're not going to risk it and risk losing fans over it. So they ended up just not killing off the characters that deserve to die. Jon Snow, as much as he was brought back, deserved to die another 8 times after that, because he just kept making mistakes. And Tyrion Lannister, who's meant to be the smartest person in all of Westeros, making stupid mistakes. And it's just that bothered me. So it was a case of, by that point, there were certain characters that were protected, but they were also being used to suit a narrative that the directors wanted, not a narrative that made sense, if that makes sense. So I love the series still, and I know people find the first 4 seasons really hard work because they're really long. Like, everything seems to take a really long time. But fundamentally, Game of Thrones was a murder mystery. More than, like, the first book was a murder mystery. You were kind of watching everything kind of unfold, and it became like a political drama, which was fine. But the directors seemed to just forget that and just went, well, if we just chuck a load of dragons in, that'll be enough.
I think that's exactly right. But like the minute that they ran out of like source material, like they had nothing to like ground what was happening anymore. Like there was no end game. Does that make sense? It was just like, oh, we've got these people. What do we do with them now?
Yeah, the problem is D&D got the job as directors because they managed to guess Jon Snow's heritage. George R. R. Martin gave them the books, they read the books, and then he asked, who are Jon Snow's parents? They gave him an answer, and because they got the answer right, that's why they were awarded.
But that's not even it's not even a secret. Like, it's so obvious, even just reading the first book. It's like, oh, Ned Stark came back from this weird invasion with a baby and a dead sister and would never ever talk about what happened. I wonder what happened. It's like,
weird,
come on. Like, and there is some ego attached to the idea that, like, if you think no one can work out your big fucking secret, you're gonna give them a job selling your franchise. You must think that you're a big fucking deal to think that, like,
think it was much it was that. I think he was just kind of hoping they'd make the most of it. And I think it was then a case of they were like, well, because everyone else has worked it out too, we've got to do something else, which is why that you had the great reveal. I thought the reveal was actually done beautifully. The way it kind of like passes from her eyes to his, I thought that was genius. Like, really beautifully done. But then they don't do anything with it. He's not actually a threat to Daenerys at all. And they also decide to make Daenerys mad in the last season. And there's no leader.
Any woman who wants power, who hasn't been subdued like Sansa, has got to be nuts.
I mean, we're all crazy here.
We've got, like, from Olenna Tyrell being sociopathic to, you know, Cersei and Daenerys both being psychopaths in their own ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, the blokes, they're just power hungry. It's just, they're just virile, you know?
I think there's definitely a problem, like, if we were to dissect the series a bit, it's that it can't have a powerful woman. She's either got to be like slutty like Marjorie, or she's got to be ruthless like Cersei, or she's got to be crazy and broken somehow. Like, she can't be powerful in her own right. Something has to have occurred.
Arya's psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arya's like,
she's a psycho.
She watched her dad die.
Yeah, this is the thing, is like, with Arya, it makes sense for her to be a psycho because she's trained by assassins. She literally watches her family systematically die. She always arrives too late. You know, when she sees Rob's body, but with the wolf head on it, like, that's traumatic. And she deals with that trauma in a very kind of... The thing is, though, for me, I love it because I've literally just finished reading Nevernight yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this is Arya's backstory." It's essentially because it's the same story. She watches her family die, and she goes on a murdering rampage, and she gets trained by assassins. That's the story of Nevernight, and I was like, "But I love Arya for that." Yeah. I actually didn't have an issue with her ending either. I had an issue, so I'm trying not to like spoil it in case, Sian, you do decide you want to watch it.
Oh, I mean, I don't mind, but there might be people watching this who haven't like taken the plunge. So like, I for me personally, I don't really give a crap. Like, I already know most of it anyway, just absorbing it through pop culture. But I don't know if somebody is gonna watch this at some point. And I guess if that's the thing, like, if it's maybe a good time to decide whether we're gonna try and keep this spoiler free or just like go all in on everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. But like, I did
already just we've already revealed that Ned and Rob both die. So.
Yeah, but that's in like season 1 and 2. Like, it's very early on.
1 and 3, like.
Because for me, I've always tried to keep it to like a 5-year minimum. Like, if something's been out for 5 years, I'll talk about it freely. If it hasn't been, but I don't know. I can't remember how old season 8 is. I don't know if it's 2 years or older than that. I don't know. Maybe it's less than a year. But yeah, Aya spends a lot of the season talking about how we're a family, we need to stick together, we're the last of the wolves and all this sort of stuff. And then she leaves. Once everything's kind of sorted, she leaves. And I don't have an issue with that, really, because for me, as much as Aya wanted to go home, there are little moments where you're like, no, she's not that little girl that needs her family anymore. Like, her family died. And I think, for her to go home, she's going to look at Sansa and just see her mum. She's going to look at John and Brandon and just see her dad. Like, it's too painful. And she's an assassin. She can't afford to feel those emotions. And she always wanted to travel and stuff. So I think that made sense. But I know that there's other things in it that people got really fucking annoyed about. But to me, there were some episodes of season 8 that I thought that was just so beautifully done. There's an episode where everyone meets at Winterfell, and I just thought that was really lovely to see all the characters that we've seen in these multiple storylines all spread across the globe in one room. I thought that was really lovely, but it's not. Yeah, exactly. But it just didn't redeem an entire season for me. So, yeah. Have you guys got a favourite season?
3.
What's the highlights of season 3?
Well, I'm assuming that 3 is the Red Wedding.
I think it's season 3.
Yeah. I think so.
I'm generic. I'm basic, but I mean, it's the season that it's the season that for me is the last season that I just couldn't stop watching. That I could stay up late into the night. Season 4 I liked. I love Natalie Dormer, so anything with Marjorie Tyrell in it really worked for me. But season 3 was seasons 1 through 3 were the ones where it's like I can't get enough of this. I'll stay up for 48 hours straight to just watch this if I could. Which I with season 4 I enjoyed. Didn't quite get that same feeling. I thought, oh, maybe it's just a bit of a dip, and then it just kind of got progressively worse. And I was like, oh, no, it wasn't a dip. It was an indication of where things were going to go.
I really love like political intrigue a lot. So everything that was to do with like Marjorie's power grab, I really enjoyed. Like I thought that was fantastic, and that's where I got like the most enjoyment out of the snow. Like Bran and the White Walkers, don't know her. Like who's that? Literally don't care. Do not care. And like every time it came on, I'd be like, I don't care about this. I don't care about this. Like, and then but then when it's like Marjorie like making moves basically through the fucking family trying to get whichever brother will stick, and I love watching that, and I liked seeing her relationship with Sansa as well, and Tyrion's relationship with Sansa. So I think that just as far as like kind of political intrigue goes, that was my favorite one. And I think that's the same season where you get to see a lot of Arya like really growing to like kind of like use her like anger and her as a power, like it's a source of energy for her. So I think that's a good season.
I think that's fair. Priscilla was traumatized by the Red Wedding.
Weren't we all? Like I cried and I didn't know what to do. And I think the acoustic version of the Reigns of Castamere that played after that was so like that was such a shout.
Yeah, me and my husband had it on in the car for ages.
Yeah.
Did you feel somber the whole time?
I was pregnant at the time, watching Talisa get stabbed in the stomach. It's like,
jeez.
That was brutal. Like just the way it was done was so brutal. But it was just like for me, it was the little things. Like because obviously, again, having read the books, I knew it was going to happen, but I wasn't sure like how they were going to do it or what like how they were going to portray it, kind of thing. And it was very, very different watching it to reading it. And like the moment the music changes and Catelyn sees the armor under Lord Bolton's clothes or whatever, I was like, oh shit, like it was just I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it. Like it was so good. Whereas I think, and that for me had a lot more impact than the Purple Wedding, for example, because with the Purple Wedding it's so out of the blue, and you don't like there wasn't the same like visual cues that it was going to happen, if that makes any sense.
I think the thing is as well is like no, it's always a stronger emotion, I think, to like root for the good guys to succeed than it is to root for the bad guys to have a downfall. So I feel like you want Rob to win and succeed so badly, and then to see that just taken away because he's been a fool and his mom's been a fool. Like, it's just mistakes everywhere and it's all led to this. It's awful because you can see the path that took them here. And then with Joffrey, it's just like, well, I didn't like him and now he's dead. Oh no, Tyrion's in trouble.
yeah.
So like I feel that, you know, it hurts you more to see someone that you want to succeed do well than it pleases you to see somebody that you hate have a downfall.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Do you guys have a favourite character?
I do really like Arya. Like, if we're going for like the main sort of like 5.
Yeah, the main ones is Tyrion, but I really like Bronn.
Bronn is a shout. Love Bronn. I do feel like I'm channeling Bronn just a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Very Bronn this evening. This is so skewish. But yeah.
I mean, on an attractive scale, Missandei was my eye candy.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like to watch, like, plot-wise, Bronn was hilarious.
I feel like Bronn got all the lines that the audience was thinking. So, like, anytime he says something that seems like he got all the best lines, because whenever like Tyrion's trying to explain to him how like borrowing money works, and it's like, well, what if I don't pay you? It's like, well, then I'll cut you. Like, it's not even a question. And I just thought, yeah, the kind of real kind of simple, like, your brother promised me a castle, so I better be getting a fucking castle kind of thing. Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
I like Davos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good character. I mean, Shireen, while she was in it.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah. So I also, I did really like Oberon.
That's what I heard.
Say that again.
I did really like Oberon.
Oh right, yeah, I remember that.
I can't work out what's happening with the sound, but I keep losing you halfway through a sentence. I don't know if it's my internet. Both of you. I think I don't like. I can't work out who was trying to speak then, because I could just hear like.
You can go first. What did you say?
I agreed with you. I just said Oberon. Like, that's literally the full extent of what I said.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
What about you, Hannah? What's your favorite?
Yeah, I think for me, Oberon was my favorite. I do love Tyrion. I love book Tyrion though. I feel like TV Tyrion was good, but book Tyrion was better. And actually, Sansa for me was the other way around. I preferred TV Sansa to book Sansa, because I felt like TV Sansa, even just in her little isms, there was more control there than there was in the book. I know a lot of people had a real issue with Sansa in the opening seasons, but I really liked her storyline of kind of taking the stereotypical princess and kind of being like, oh, she's actually got to do, like, she's, you know, and she like becomes like this warrior queen without actually getting any blood on her hands at all. Like, I thought it was really cool. I thought she was cool. But any kind of powerful women, I'm here for it, really.
Yeah, I did like who Sansa turned into, but there were times, especially when she's, you know, married off to Ramsay Bolton, where it just felt like the show became quite gratuitous in her suffering. Like, it became like a let's see Sansa suffer porno show, and I was like, it's too much every episode. And that's not to say that like every episode has to have something good happening to her. Like, Ramsay's giving her a foot massage and telling her how nice her hair looks that day. But I just mean that like the amount that we had to watch her suffer was too much. And it really turned. It was one of the things that really turned me off the show in the end.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see timing wise whether Theon and Sansa get the same screen time with their brutality, or whether actually Sansa gets more screen time with it or not.
I think it's definitely more explicit with Sansa. Like, I think that like a lot of what's happening to Theon is like mostly implied. You see his reactions to things.
I don't know, when he gets his finger cut into and you're literally seeing like bone being pulled out, that's gratuitous. Like, and I think, but what's really interesting for me is that, again, that was a choice made by the directors, because in the book, Ramsay Bolton doesn't marry Sansa. He marries her lady's maid that's pretending to be noble born or whatever. So that none of that actually happens to Sansa. Sansa just witnesses it and decides she's never going to get married, because even here, where in her own home she thinks she should be safe, she isn't, because she's had those threats from Joffrey. Now she has those threats from Ramsay Bolton. But it doesn't actually happen to her. So I think, I don't know what the directors were thinking, whether it was a case of she needed to go through that herself to for us to truly empathize with her, which obviously is not the case.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting choice, but I think that's probably because they had already cut out Jane Paul from the opening seasons. So there was no point just dragging up a character that they'd never had.
That's the thing, we wouldn't have cared about, like, not cared, but like it wouldn't have been as impactful as a character we've watched from season 1. I think that if they'd have kept Jane Paul in and then decided to do it Sansa, it would have been weird, but it made sense for me for it to be Sansa.
Yeah.
And I have to disagree with you. I think that what happens to Theon is just as bad as what happens to Sansa.
Yeah, well, he's completely castrated, isn't he? So it's
it's irreparable damage. I mean, I know that Sansa's is too. That's what I mean.
That's great.
Both of them.
She's great. Like,
yeah, he gets his penis removed.
I don't want to have an argument about whether having
both of them.
Yeah, no,
I think it's both of them are massive violations, and I think, especially as women, we're gonna get intrinsically tied to the idea of like brutality towards women anyway. But I think you're right. Like they're both awful, and we don't need to discuss the spectrum of how awful that is.
That's true.
What we do need to do is play some Drunk, Stoned and Stupid. So let's turn this onto a happier topic. Now, we did discuss yesterday via Skype, out of the way of other people, so I just thought I'd have a quick chat about that as well. The idea that we're not doing a Drunk, Stoned and Stupid next week, because we've done 4 on the trot and we need a break. And also we are looking at including not just the cards from Drunk, Stoned and Stupid, but some ideas of our own that should be cards that aren't. So we might come up with some of those as well throughout the game if we actually think we've done that card a few times, let's do one of our own kind of thing. So so we'll see what happens. We should be coming back in a couple of weeks' time, but we're not sure what we're coming back with yet. So we're just going to keep it nice and vague and just keep doing the lives, but maybe not do Drunk, Stoned and Stupid, because there are only so many cards.
It will be a pleasant surprise, whatever.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying this fancy dress element to it. I think that's something that we need to maintain.
I really love my cosmic cosplays. Like I've had loads of fun. So.
Yeah. But any excuse to put on the armor again, really. It makes me feel really butch. Right.
You look hot.
Hot.
It's a shame that you don't wear it more often.
I wish cloaks and armor was a thing. I feel like it would really suit me as just like a day-to-day thing.
Like, I love a half
cape. As long as they don't bring back corsets, though.
Huh?
So long as they don't bring back corsets with it, though.
It's actually a myth that corsets were really uncomfortable. And that if it was properly made and tailored, they were actually fine. I watch a lot of fashion historians on YouTube, and they were like, it's a big myth. They're all right. And, like, you know, if you get one that's, like, actually been made properly for you to wear under a dress, which is the intent, then it's nowhere near as harrowing as it's made out to be in Hollywood, where they show you these pictures of people with tiny, tiny, tiny waists, which are illustrations and not things that happened.
Because the eras where it was literally used to morph your body, they would have been incredibly painful. But the years where it was literally just an alternative to a bra, it wouldn't have been awful at all. So when you're watching like Jane Austen, those corsets would have been fine. They were literally just under boob support instead of over boob support.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're talking like, you know, the 8th century, 9th century, where you're looking at people literally trying to change the shape of their body for a specific fashion sense, then they would have been excruciating.
I guess. I think a lot of them though, it's like a Victorian myth. So there's so many things that we know about the Tudors that was actually just made up by Victorians, where they found stuff, because obviously it was like kind of rediscovering our history and finding all these relics and things like that. And then, like, because they didn't have the science that we have today to kind of put two and two together, they kind of just assumed loads of stuff as well. So I had this theory that the reason we believe, like, or people believed dragons existed, is someone must have discovered like a dinosaur skull or something like that and just gone, oh well, that must have been a monster, and someone has slain that monster. And kind of like, because it's the idea that although we have infinite imagination, a lot of it comes from somewhere else. So there must be like a myth or some kind of Victorian thing where it's like, oh well, actually, yeah, it was really painful, but it was just kind of, because a lot of the illustrations I think are Victorian. When you see like the really tiny waists and like the contortion kind of bodices and stuff like that. But
yeah, there's I think
in hieroglyphics, the shapes of the women there are pretty atrocious.
Yeah, but that could just be bad drawing, though.
That's the thing. It's like, how do I make this man look different from this woman? Let's make this waist tiny. And that's the thing. You don't see any like Victorian skeletons, like to my understanding, where the like or Edwardian Georgian, where the ribs have been like severely sort of like distorted. So I'm not saying it's completely like it's nonsense, but like I've seen enough historians who are like most of this is bollocks. So.
Well, like I said, if you look at the corsets in Jane Austen era, they literally weren't there to shape you. They were just there to hold you in.
Even Edwardian
kind of like what we
like
wear, like a slip dress to wear under your dress. Yeah. It kind of was like that. It was literally just to hold you in and hold your boobs in the right place, and that was it. But there are also corsets that were made to literally morph your body to a certain
well that's just the the difference between a sports bra and a plunge bra, isn't it? Like, we've still got that going on. One is to be comfortable when you're running around getting shit done, and the other one is to be like, hey guys, girls,
I have a cleavage.
Anyway, about fashion.
Right, let's get back onto right. So let's pick out some characters. Have you got any characters that you would like to see come up?
Obviously, I'm repping Septa and Ella, so I'd like for her to come up.
Okay, so the first one.
What about you, Hannah? Who do you want to see?
I don't mind, to be honest. I think it's going to be fun. Anyways, the first one's Egret, which is John's beau.
We know nothing.
And his wife in real life. His real life wife.
Yeah, I think that's really cute.
Isn't that lovely?
Okay, so we've got Egret.
That's
AKA
kind of fiddling with the paper, let's be honest. You're just playing with the paper.
Well, I should do ASMR where it's just this.
I think you'd attract a lot of cats.
Yeah, probably. The next one is Gendry, AKA the sexiest man alive. I think.
Yeah, no,
I think I fancy him more than I fancy Adam Driver. There's a little fact there for you.
Oh my god, you fancy someone who's actually attractive over someone who looks like Play-Doh.
He's impressed and I'm disgusted. It's great.
I was always going to upset one of you. The next one is Daenerys Targaryen, or Khaleesi.
Khaleesi.
I think every time we say a name, we should say the full title. It's like Daenerys.
I can't even remember it.
Stormborn.
Mother of Dragons.
Breaker of Chains. I can't remember the rest.
No, absolutely not. I love the fact that when she became Khaleesi, when Game of Thrones came out, Khaleesi became the most popular name for newborns.
Yeah.
There you go.
Moon of the Sun.
Not surprising, let's be honest. I mean, in 2011, the amount of Hermione's. Moon of the Sun.
That's so good.
We've got Brienne of Tarth.
Oh, it's all girls.
Yes.
Except for Gendry.
Ladies on here.
Except for Gendry.
Apart from Gendry's the vamp lady as well. If he wants
How
to be.
dare. I've got a sneaky suspicion Brienne's not going to get any of these because she's got to be the most straight edge character.
I was literally about to say she's the Phasma of this TV series, and they're played by the same
actress. And then we've got Renly Baratheon as well. The most
Interesting mix.
underrated of all of the Baratheons, I think.
A gay icon that is Renly Baratheon.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give it to George R. R. Martin. You know, when he wants to shove some rep in there, he doesn't do it overboard, and yet he manages to get a decent amount of rep in there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like throwing down your throat. It's not like YA, there's a black person, there's a disabled person, there's a gay person, cha-ching. It's like, it just fits the narrative, and yet he gets a decent... Like, it's one of the few adult fantasies I know that has, like, proper disability rep in it with Bran, and it's like, that's not actually done that often. And he doesn't seem like the kind of person that just checklists, like, representation. So, I don't know, I just thought it was quite cool.
I think it's just because he likes to set his characters up with a difficulty. Yeah. So like a lot of like the main characters that don't have like a difficult path in their way are almost non-existent. You've got maybe Robb Stark, who is young, good looking, can run an army, and then he gets brutalized at his own wedding. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's things like that. Whereas, you know, you've got women who are trying to fight in a patriarchal world. You've got cripples. You've got like minorities trying to fight and stuff like that. So I guess
Tyrion's got dwarfism.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a case of people that actually have everything suffer more so, but because the others are already fighting, they already kind of have that edge on that story, I guess.
What Jaime Lannister's character arc is really good for.
So that again?
Like, the only way Jaime Lannister's character arc is really good in that sense, because like the only way that you can survive Westeros is if you're fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like Jaime Lannister.
Huh?
I like Jaime Lannister. I think he's funny.
Yeah, he's a great character, and he had a fantastic arc because he wasn't a good person. Yeah, and that's the thing. And it wasn't even to the last season. It was to that last episode that he was in. It was so good right up until that point, and I was just like, you've just undone an entire 8 seasons worth of character development in 10 minutes. Congratulations. No one else has done that before. So
I feel like you could apply that to basically every single character in season 8.
Pretty much.
Yeah, probably. Except maybe Sandor Clegane. He was very he had goals.
Right, so the Hound and Arya escaped with a scratch, and everybody else just got fucked.
Basically. Okay, right. So we'll play 3 of these cards, and then we'll play one of our prompts each.
Exciting.
So the first card has questionable hygiene. Who out of those 5 has the worst hygiene?
They all seem really clean.
Gendry,
the blacksmith. The sexy blacksmith.
I reckon Ygritte is probably worse.
Kind of, like, wait, who?
I just assume Ygritte's is worse. She lives in
the
woods.
Yeah, ain't no showers over there.
The thing is, she's growing up around people that would be inherently dirty, and yet she bothers to bathe. While Gendry would have grown up around people that would be inherently clean and always looks really sweaty and mucky.
He's from like the shit end of the Red Keep. Like
Right, but I'm comparing the two. Comparing Ygritte to Gendry. Gendry's had more access to hygiene than Ygritte has in the frozen wastelands.
Yeah, but
I don't know. She seems to find a hot
spot.
spot.
They maintain the same level of cleanliness. She is therefore cleaner.
I just think her hygiene is more questionable.
I feel like she wouldn't give, if she had to shake a lettuce in the woods, then she's not going to think too much about it. He's got a way to work around stink. He's
exactly,
like the
Jim.
medieval
Thank
version
you,
of the.
Don't know you, but thank you, Jim.
He's the medieval version of the Diet Coke man, the window cleaner.
Okay,
so are you guys overruling me then? Is it
no? I think Ygritte is
Ygritte. Excellent. Thank you, Sean.
I think there's too many shots of Gendry being wet, and there's too many shots of Gendry naked being clean. Like the only time he's a dirty boy is when he's like just come from the forge. So like,
please call Gendry a dirty boy again.
You're gonna get out of dreams.
Shame. Okay, next card is really shouldn't have kids.
All of them. Literally all of them.
I feel like Egret would be a good mom.
Yeah,
And
I reckon
Brienne would be
like-
a great mom.
Khaleesi really wanted to be a mum.
Yeah. And she's
That
like,
doesn't mean
before
that you
season 8,
should
she's
be.
quite a gentle person.
Say that again, Faye.
Just because they want to be mums doesn't mean they should be. They're in Westeros.
Oh, so
No one's
everyone in
got children
Westeros
in
should just.
Westeros.
All right.
So go on then, Faye. Who would you like disallow from kids?
Everyone in Westeros, apparently. We're gonna have a casual
There's a little
discussion.
milkmaid out there that's fine with kids, but on a whole, okay, out of that lot, I mean, Renly's gonna have a hard time having kids.
That
Being
doesn't
a
mean he
gay man.
shouldn't have kids, though.
Yeah.
He's probably the most compassionate out of all of them.
Oh my god, him and his boyfriend would be the best parents. Like,
Him and Loris
oh my
raising
God.
some kids,
Can
making
you
them
imagine?
various little people.
They would
Yeah,
be
they'd be
so
well dressed.
fashionable. Yeah, exactly. They would be the best looking kids at school, and everyone
Yeah.
would be like, "Oh, it's fucking them guys again. It's the Tyrell Baratheon kids." Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who I would like. I don't want to take kids off the table for any of them. I feel like
I think Brienne. The problem for Brienne would be that then she'd be tied down in that society to being a mother, and I think she'd hate that. Like Egret is growing up in a world where you're a mum, and you carry your kid on your hip and you keep going, kind of thing. But Brienne's growing up in a world where if you've had a child, you stay in your fancy ass house and you rear your children.
Yeah,
so
and also
then because I wouldn't want her to be pinned to that life.
Yeah, she's also a gold cloak, so then they give up all rights to children anyway when they become a gold cloak. But also, I think it's not just the fact that she'd be tied to being a mum. I think it's a case of she's then passing on a legacy to someone else. I don't think she would want to put that on someone else's shoulders. I think she takes on oaths herself, and she takes her oaths very seriously. So I think if she were to have kids, they've got quite a lot to live up to. And I think that'd be quite hard.
I feel like she'd be a great mom.
Oh, she'd be a great mum.
I think she'd be lovely.
I just don't know if it's right for her.
I feel like if she had to give up what she's got to like take some little girl on an adventure and make a life for herself and teach her to be self-sufficient and strong, she'd fucking love it. Like I think she'd relish that. Like she like part of Brienne, like, you know, not in a soppy way, but she wants acceptance and she wants family. Yeah. And I think if somebody was like, oh no, there's this baby, like when she, you know, takes Arya under her wing for a little bit, and then Sansa, like she's got a strong maternal instinct. And I feel like, you know, an oath isn't just something that you make to somebody who's sitting on a throne, it's something that you make to your family too. And I feel like she's loyal and dedicated. And I feel like if she was going to have a kid, she'd be fucking terrific at it, actually. So
I think you're right.
Where there's empirical evidence that they are a bad mother is Dany, because she, one of my kids has been bad, better lock all the other ones up in a cave. One of my kids got killed by a crossbow, better fly at them with the other one. Like she is a reckless mother.
You're right. That's so true.
I know she's the mother of dragons, but like I feel like it's not quite comparable. I think had what was her kid called? Drogon?
Oh yeah, her son, her
actual child, Like,
I don't know if he had a name. I know that her husband was Khal Drogo, so I would assume so. Because I know her dragon's called Drogon.
I think she was going to call her son Drogon because she was like, what's her name, Momoa. He was like, he will be the stallion that mounts the world, and then everything's ruined for her. So,
but yeah, like to her actual child, I don't think she'd have actually had any of her character arc if she'd just had Khal Drogo and her baby.
It's not who would have had a character arc, it's who shouldn't have kids. And Dany,
I don't think she'd have been a bad mother if her actual baby had survived.
You don't know that. Like somebody was like, Dany, one of your children has misbehaved, and she'd be like, all right, all of you get in the pantry.
They're dragons. It's like a child.
All right, guys. Okay, guys, stop. Stop. This is meant to be a healthy debate. You're getting very high pitched. So it's come down to Khaleesi and Brienne of Tarth, I think, both of you. I think, yeah, I kind of feel like Sian has swayed me. I think the evidence that Brienne is maternal is there, and I think Khaleesi had her chance. And
she did. She had her practice run, and she flew it into some crossbows. So
she did. So she lost one to the ice demons, and still didn't learn her lesson. So
she is reckless.
Okay, never gets a hangover.
That's Ygritte, I reckon.
Ygritte.
Yeah, for sure.
Into pantry with those.
I feel like Brienne isn't far behind, but Brienne just doesn't drink.
I was going to say, for Brienne, it's a case of she just doesn't drink, and I feel like Gendry and Renly would be hanging for days.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think Ygritte is probably the one that can hold her drink best, and therefore is least likely to get a hangover.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Daenerys ugly cries when she's drunk.
Ugly cries when she's drunk. Yeah, probably.
I feel like she just gets horny. Like, she seems to hop on a lot of dick for somebody who was like, "I'll never love again." So
you don't have to love someone to have sex with them, Sian.
That's that's true.
That's just my move.
It's just, when she's looking her uncle, it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I thought he was her nephew.
Huh? Oh yeah, Jon Snow is her nephew. Yeah.
Nephew, yeah.
Her brother's son. Because that's not weird at all.
No,
actually, to be fair, I'm proud of us that we managed to talk about Game of Thrones for 41 minutes without mentioning incest yet.
Yeah.
We've done really well, guys.
I am reminded though.
Actually.
Say that again.
Oh, she's sad.
I don't know what's happening there. Oh, maybe. You still there, Faye?
Internet's glitching.
Oh, fun.
I was just going to say that I'm reminded that Viserys exists, and I loved him all the way through season 1. I think he was a fucking icon, and I just like every scene that he was in, I was sent. Like, I think he was so funny and just perfectly played, and I loved him. So I think I'm going to change my mind actually, and my favorite character is Viserys, because he is just like the furious gay icon that I want. Like, it's fantastic.
And he died before he could get corrupted by the directors.
Yeah, he is so funny. Like,
I think it's for me. Did you guys ever watch the BBC version of Robin Hood?
Which one's that?
That's so they did like a TV series of Robin Hood that was kind of like a Merlin like style. I think it was probably the same production company, but they did that with Robin Hood, and he plays Will in it, who's just this really stoic archer who doesn't do very much, but is very kind of like, he's there to point out the obvious when everyone else is being stupid kind of character. He doesn't have a lot of lines, but the lines he does have always help the plot move forward kind of thing. And he was just this really stoic character. So when he popped up on screen, because I'd watched that before and I like immediately recognized him, I just assumed it was going to be a similar character. And then when he's like feeling her up before she gets into the bath, and I was like, that is not the same character. What is this shit? Because obviously that's before I'd read the books, so it was very strange. I found that very jarring.
He's got like, I can't remember the exact line, so I'm paraphrasing a bit, but it's like something, she's like, isn't there anything that you would do to get this throne? And he's like, I'd let every single one of those Dothraki and their horses fuck you if it got me on that throne. And I was just like, oh my.
He's got goals. He's got goals.
Ain't no bitch standing in his way.
Okay, are you ready to share your prompt then before we continue with some more Drunk, Stoned and Stupid cards, just to mix it up a little bit?
Me?
Well, yeah, if we take it in turns. So if you want to go first, Sian, and then we'll do Faye's.
I'll let Faye go first because her internet crapped out and she didn't get to say what she's going to say.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Faye, did you want to go first?
I wasn't saying anything. I just said, what did you say?
Oh.
All we got was kind of like your face. At one point, it was really blurry. Your nose was over here, but the rest of your face was over here, and I was like, that's weird. Yeah. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. It was just like a blur across. Oh. Go on then, Faye. What's your Drunk, Stoned and Stupid contribution?
Okay, most likely to need an exfoliating bubble bath.
Okay. I feel like Renly's the one that will enjoy it the most. I don't know if he needs it the most, but he'd enjoy it the most.
Yeah. I feel like
He'd
Gendry
have the
definitely
cucumbers
needs
on
it.
his eyes. He'd have his hair up into a towel. He'd be having a lovely time.
Definitely.
Loris would be giving him a
Eating and
massage.
everything by the end of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think needs
for it.
one is probably Gendry because he is in front of a forge all day.
Yeah. But you don't want your skin too soft because then otherwise it, like, you know, it will burn.
Yeah, but I mean, I just wanted to see him in the bath.
Yeah, I'd pay good money for that scene. And I'd pay good money to be an extra in that scene.
More water, me lord.
Care for a sponge?
Yeah. What if? Oh, I've dropped the sponge. I have to use my hand.
Oh, if only I had that much game.
And then I would burst in and go, shame! Ding, 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 ding. Shame!
I might change my Twitter handle after this to Gendry's wife.
Ah, I love that.
Or just Gendry's personal sponger.
Yeah. Yeah, personal sponger.
That sounds like you're stealing money from him.
Yeah. Yeah, personal back scratcher, personal masseuse.
Personal
Bed
We'll work
warmer.
on it. We'll work on it. We've got time.
Yeah.
We've got time. Okay. Shan, what's your? I'm giving that one to Gendry, by the way.
Yeah.
I want to see Gendry exfoliated.
Oh god, poor Gendry. I feel like he wouldn't care.
I'm going to go for the
Probably
one that I said to Hannah earlier. Doesn't let facts stand in their way.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's
who's the Donald
Khaleesi.
Trump of Westeros?
Khaleesi.
That's Khaleesi. Yeah, that's fucking
Yeah.
Danny. Putting 2 dragons in a cave won't stop the other one from being bad. And she's like, in the cave.
Yeah, never heard of it. I love that. Priscilla's on board.
Yeah, Priscilla's got your back. She's going to scratch your back while you scratch Gendry's
Whilst I
back.
scratch Gendry's.
Priscilla,
Okay.
who is your favourite Game of Thrones character?
Yeah, that's a good shout. I wanna
Who's
know.
everybody's favourite Game of Thrones character?
I'll have to find out. I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the chat.
My prompt is: who is most likely to turn up wearing normal clothes to a fancy dress party?
Oh my, those shit heels. I hate them. I have a fancy dress birthday party every year. And
Do
there's
you?
always, every year, like, except there was a spate where I didn't really have too many birthday parties. So, like, not in a sad way, I'd still see my family, but it wasn't like a big do.
Yeah,
I didn't have the space for it. Sarah loves Tyrion. I feel like that's a good shout.
that is a good shout.
Pre-season 8 Tyrion. Yeah, and my birthday's on International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So I've had pirate parties, mafia parties, video game parties, cowboy parties,
Amazing.
I've had all of these things, and there's always some DOS cunt who shows up in their normal clothes, and it's
Yeah.
usually the same person who doesn't bring any booze with them, and I just hate it. Like,
Don't come in. If you're not going to do the fancy dress, don't come in. Even if you're going to do the bare minimum and just come as like, I think the easiest costume I've ever worn was I wore probably like a t-shirt like this, black trousers. I had a beret and I drew a pencil moustache on, and I was like, done. Like, I think I popped to Tesco's.
Your hair instead, you'd have been Danny Zuko.
Oh yeah. I think I went to like Tesco Express and got like a little baguette, like, you know, the ones that are like this big.
A baguettine.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, bare minimum effort, you know. But
I love that. I love that.
But my best costume that I've ever worn, and I'm to this day so proud of this, is I went to B&Q and I bought one of the like all white overalls. I had a white t-shirt on underneath. I got a white like crash helmet and put God across the top and dressed as a carpenter because I was the great creator. So
there we go.
And like I just thought that was so clever.
That's good. That is good.
One guy turned up to a fancy dress party and he'd literally just written book across his face, and I was like, again, bare minimum effort, mate. Like that's not good enough.
No. That's outrageous. So, which one of these guys is?
Yeah, which of these guys are good?
Fun?
Yeah,
I feel
turn
like
up to a
Brienne
fancy dress
would
party
not
in their own
get
clothes.
involved. I feel like she wouldn't, like, not in a malicious way, but I feel like she just wouldn't do it. Like, people would be
Who's
like,
that?
Brienne, you've got to. It's like, oh, it's a dead celebrities party, Brienne. Who are you gonna dress up as? Like, or the Mad King? And she's just like, I've come as a gold cloak because that is my job.
I'm never off duty. This
Yeah,
is always me.
I am in my fanciest dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd just get it wrong. She'd just say fancy dress party, and it'd be like, yes, this is me looking as fancy as I can be.
I wear this in
Yeah,
front
she'd
of
just
the king.
misconstruing it.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think probably Brienne, just because she
Yeah.
just wouldn't. She either wouldn't because she takes herself too seriously, or she wouldn't because she'd misunderstood, or she wouldn't because she was worried she was going to get bullied. Like if she rocked up in a costume and everyone was like, "That's shit." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can already see her sweet little face.
I don't think she'd care about being bullied, actually.
Huh?
I don't think she'd care about being bullied, actually. She's been bullied her whole life anyway.
But that's why I think it would matter to her. I think if she'd reached this point where she's gained all this kind of glory, the fear of losing that and going back to what she was, I think would be excruciating. So
I do, no, now that you've said it, I do I could feel my heart took a bit just thinking about her, like thinking about dressing up for a party and then being like, they're gonna humiliate me, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. And I think that's like sometimes I think that's why people don't, is the fear that they're going to get mocked. My fear every time I put fancy dress on is that I'm going to get there and I'm going to be the only one in fancy dress.
You need to come to my birthday party this year because it'll just be me and you sending the whole evening. In fairness, that's not true. Like my friends are quite good at making an effort, and I'm always like emotionally overwhelmed at how much of an effort they put in. So like I feel like I've looked out a little bit. So yeah, you will be in good company when you come in September.
Well, whatever it is, I hope it's armor related because obviously I've got this going on.
Yes.
Okay, so to cover the scores so far, Ygritte and Khaleesi are currently reigning with 2 each. Gendry and Brienne have 1 each, and Renly has none. So somehow is the smartest.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. So the next one has terrible comebacks.
Brienne.
Why Brienne?
Because I don't think she'd bother with a comeback. I don't think that she'd stoop low enough. I just don't think she'd care.
I think it'd be a case of, I feel like she's quite witty.
Yeah.
And I feel like actually, because she has to be, because I think, again, with anyone that's been bullied, you kind of either grow resilient towards it and end up like coming back with those clapbacks, or you don't, and it kind of breaks you. And I think she's not broken, so therefore she'd have the wit. As much as I don't want to sell my husband down the river, I feel like Gendry probably has the worst comebacks, because I feel like he's the kind of person where he's not the one getting involved in the argument, but say like Arya is arguing with someone and she's like, yeah, you're a fuckwit, and he just goes, yeah. Like he's that guy.
I also feel like if somebody said something to hurt, like somebody clapped at him, he wouldn't clap back. He'd just be like, "Oh, that's proper hurt me, mate. Like, upset me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna step away from this now. I'm just gonna go hammer a piece of metal for a bit. I'm out of this now. Like, I feel like he'd just be like, I'm going now."
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be Gendry.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Gendry it is.
Gendry's the winner.
Okay, next one is goes missing within 15 minutes of going out.
That's fucking Dany, isn't it? She's always all over the place. Like, where did you go, Dany? Oh, I freed a whole fucking continent. I'm their queen now. What?
You're only gone 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, bitch, you stepped out the house for a wee, and now who are these people? What did you do?
Why do they think you're their mother?
Yeah, why are they calling you mama? See, there you go. Another example of Dany being a shit mom. Has a whole like country of people being like mama, and she's just like, I'll sell you down the river, bitch. I don't care.
You're just my practice realm. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
rule my proper realm.
I'm going to
next
my
year.
real family now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also feel like Egret has just like she'll like
That's what I
slip
was gonna
away.
say. Because like on an actual night out, like I feel like Egret would be the one that would just be like, "Fuck it, I don't like that pub. I'll see you guys later," and then go to whichever pub you wanted to go to.
Or she's found like a hidden back room where people are playing cards and chatting shit, and she's just disappeared with some really like dodgy looking guys, and she's like, "No, they're my friends now." Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to give that one to Egret. I feel like that's an Egret thing.
I've just had so many flashbacks to friends on nights out where you'd see them with some fucking rough bunch, and you're like, "What you doing, mate? Are we going home now?" And they're like, "Nah, we're mates." Like,
it always scares the shit out of me, and because usually I'm the sober one that's driving us all home, and I'm like, "Can we let go of that guy's arm now? He's terrifying." And they're like, "No, he's coming with us." I'm like, "He's not getting in my fucking car." Absolutely not. Like genuinely, like I had a conversation with like a friend of mine. She was like, "Can I give I'm gonna go to this guy's house," and I was like, "You're getting in my car." She's like, "I'm going to this guy's house. Are you gonna give me a lift to his house?" I'm like, "Get in my fucking car." I didn't want him in my car, let alone in my friend. I was like, that's not happening. And like usually I'm all for like, you know what, babe, you do you, whatever. But in this moment, he made me so creeped out that I was just like, I'm gonna do you a favor and just drive you home. So.
See, I feel like some of my friends were the ones that you guys were warning your friends against, so
probably. Okay, next one. They think they have swag.
Oh,
Renly.
No, he has. He has swag. He has charm and swag.
I don't know if swag. I think he has a bit of a mince, less of a swag.
Yeah. Sean's face.
Did we just get banned? Like
cancelled.
Hashtag I don't
the
agree
thing
with
is,
any.
I think that Renly is really sweet. Like, joking aside, I think that Renly's really sweet, and I feel like swag and sweet don't go. But like, out of that lot, the one I'd most feel inclined to hug is Renly.
Sorry, I nearly spit took drink with her. I saw that. Like, if
we just ended Faye's YouTube career.
That back, they would see me read that comment, and my whole face filled back up with the wine I was swallowing because I needed to
No, like all joking aside, though, it's because he's the most lovable. He's the most sweet. If I was gonna hug any of that lot, I'd hug Renly. He's adorable.
Bitch, no, I would hug Gendry 100 times before I.
Not because I want to shag him. All right, it's not all about the V.
The V.
Okay, when we were talking about Star Wars and we were defending Adam Driver, it was definitely all about the V. Yeah. I'm not having it.
I wanted to hug Adam Driver. I wanted to shag Adam Driver. It's slightly different.
I would hug Gendry's hard. Like, it would be like a box of bricks with a blanket over it, but he works out so much.
I just mean like a friendly, like a cuddle, not like a whew, this is steamy. I mean, like,
wait, what is this
bless
question?
you, honey. It would be Gendry. Not Gendry, it'd be Renly. So like, you know.
Okay, so you're thinking, okay, if one person is snuggable, they can't have swag, which I can understand that. Yeah, I can understand that.
I would say that Tom Hardy has swag, but is also very cuddleable.
No, I feel like he would hold you. It's not a cuddle, he's holding you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're resting in his arms like a baby, you're not cuddling him back, you're being held. Which I don't have a problem with.
Panda cuddle, you know, like a cuddle. That's not, you don't Tom Hardy.
I guess what I would say is, as like with Gendry and Tom Hardy, I could see them being big spoon. With Renly, I feel like he'd be little spoon.
Little spoon.
So can you have swag and be little spoon?
No.
I don't think that's true.
At this point, I feel like I'm just pitting you two against each other on these things. Okay, Sean, who would you say has thinks they have swag but doesn't have swag?
I think Dani thinks she's got swag.
Yeah.
but she doesn't have swag.
No.
Like, I think
Anyone who poses in front of her dragon so that she's like, that's not.
Brilliant. That was brilliant. That
Is
was
that me
you.
or is that the comment?
Brianne
I
even
was
thinks
sure if it was
that
the Bane would be the best one comment.
It was you. I didn't even see that because I was laughing at you. That was nearly as good as the Tresemme thing where you were like, like that made me crease myself. Like,
You're welcome.
like, yeah. So that's 2 weeks on the bounce where we've had incredible physical comedy from Hannah.
I really should do these stood up because I feel like I could get the slapstick in a bit more then, you know?
Yeah, I think that Renly does have swag, and I think that Dani wants to have swag. Like, I think she would be envious of Renly's swag.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. Okay, I'm going to give it to Khaleesi.
The one thing that I would say is that Brienne is the complete reverse. I feel like Brienne doesn't think she has swag and actually has loads of swag.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She walks in and people know. Yeah,
She
Yeah,
thinks
but I don't think that she does it deliberately. I think that's just her. She's just like, I'm here. And like that's part of her, and she doesn't put it on at all. So she's not conscious of her level of swag. She just is swag.
Brienne thinks that swag is something that you steal from a bank. Like,
yeah, cool. Okay, next. We'll constantly ask you if you have a spare phone charger.
oh God, I feel like that's Renly.
Yeah. Yeah. Renly is constantly in need.
He's texting Laura so
Egret.
much, his phone's always dead. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but like Egret literally lives off of stealing off of other people. Surely stealing your battery power is the same.
I don't know if it's like stealing so much, like, because if it's just a case of like constantly needs one, it's more just they're so incapable of being self-reliant is kind of how I see it, which Renly is very much a pampered little boy.
yeah.
That I feel like
Egret would take that. She'd be like, "Oh, can I borrow your phone charger?" But then you'd never get it back. Whereas Renly would borrow it, give it you back, and then need it again in an hour.
Yeah, because he's been on Grindr and he's now trying to work out where that guy is.
Oh shit! He's part of the High Garden hose.
Yeah, he's just like, I know he's close, but I need to text him back.
I've started something that I'm not going to be able to take back as to how mean was suddenly allowed to be to Renly.
Oh no, I'd still stand. I would never describe his movement as mincing because I don't want to be annihilated by the LGBTQ plus community in the coming years.
No, I was only taking the piss. Renly, I actually love Renly as the character, and I definitely was very disappointed by his death. Like, he's one of the ones where it's like, I wish he'd have been in longer.
Yeah.
Primarily because he was a very good example of like how people would have had to have been in that time and yet still being confident enough within himself. Like, he's got a really good balance in a character.
I think the biggest tragedy of the Game of Thrones series is never seeing the Baratheon brothers in the same room, because that would have been an absolute riot. Like, I think that would be really good.
Imagine being their mum. Like, imagine raising 3 boys so different.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I guess that back then mothers wouldn't have done a huge amount of raising necessarily. Like, they would have had tutors that would dedicate them to a specific
But it's
thing.
not like the children don't see their mother. Like,
I think it would depend on the family, and it also depends on how close you want to compare Westeros history with English history, and even in English history, what era? Because like for a lot of them, it was a case that like if you're going to compare it to English history, they wouldn't see their children from about 3 years old to 8 years old, because that was kind of the key time when kids would die. So they would have them raised by someone else's family, so that if they did die, there was a detachment there already. And then once they were 8 years old, then they would either go into tutoring or apprenticeships or whatever, and then they would kind of like come back under the family fold. But I think if you take, for example, the Starks as a kind of like family basis, you've got all of the sons under one roof, even though they're all different ages. And you've got Brandon and Rickon, who are very young. Yes, they're being tutored, but they're being tutored by their parents alongside the Maester. So I think it's and again, they are one of the larger houses, so maybe smaller houses were different. So I think but yeah, it's maybe I've thought about it too much. Is maybe what I'm getting at here. But yeah, anyone think?
I also totally agree with Priscilla that yeah, he definitely has many spring and flower pictures. Like his whole palette this time of year would be lilac, yellow, white, and pale green. Like,
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Here for it. Okay, right. Did you guys want to use another one of your own drunk, stoned, and stupid
I've only
cards?
got 3, so I'll save mine for round 2 and
Okay.
1,
Okay.
or whichever.
Yeah, I'll have at best 1 per round. So
that's fine. All right then. Okay, so the next card is.
Unless you've got another sick one that you want to use.
No, not. I mean, no, probably not. Next one is won't stop talking about relationship problems.
Oh, I feel like that's a Renly thing.
I was going to say Gendry. I feel like Gendry is just constantly like, well, I really like Arya, but I don't think she likes me back, and I don't really know how to tell her. And everyone else is just like, just tell her. Also, why are you in love with a psychopath?
See, the thing for me would be it depend on if it's like already in a relationship or because they've got like yearning to be in a relationship. Because yes, Gendry, unless it's in a relationship, unless it would just be Ygritte bitching about Jon Snow.
That's true.
But Renly is having to pretend to have a relationship with Marjorie while he's shagging her brother. So
but is he going to tell anyone about that though?
Oh my god, you definitely I can just imagine him in bed with Loras being like, Marjorie was such a dick over dinner, she keeps talking about this dress that she wants and we have to put money towards the war effort and she will not let it go, can you please have a word with her? And then Loras is like, oh well, I don't know, she's my sister, it's really your job to say this, you're her husband after all. And he's like, oh, I'm her husband, of course you throw that in my face. And then he goes to Marjorie and is like, Loras was really rude to me and I don't want to get into the specifics of it. So to my brother, but he was so rude. And then she'll be like, well, why don't you have a conversation? And he's like, you're both the same. Like,
yeah, I'm here for it. I'm going to give you that point without any discussion because I think that was the best little narrative I've ever
had. Yeah, reenactment. Just on the reenactment alone.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent work.
Thank you. No shame this time.
No shame this time. The next one, makes beds before going out just in case.
Oh my god. In case of what?
Well, that's the thing. I think it'd be Gendry because he's going out like this, just like maybe.
I don't know. I know what it's.
Renly is most likely because he's got a wife and a boyfriend. So
yeah, one of them's going to end up in his bed eventually.
To need it.
I feel like Brienne would do it, but only like in case she never comes back and she doesn't want someone to think she's not messy. Or in case she has to hold a secret meeting and the only place that she could possibly do it is in her room, and then she would not want it to be a mess.
I mean, Brienne, it's like even in case she gets robbed because she wouldn't want the burglars to think she's untidy.
Yeah. So my money's on Brienne because I feel like she'd have all sorts of ludicrous situations like, well, what if
she needs all of her stuff in a very set place so that if anyone comes in and moves her stuff, she can tell straight away. Okay. Well, I think we've covered this one just slightly already, but which of these people would shamelessly Snapchat?
That's a Renly.
It's Renly.
I don't know. Like, it could also be Dany though, because she's got a fucking temper, and you know you get those people who like the second they are mad, they're on Snapchat. They've got 100.
Well, it's Instagram lives now. It's all Instagram lives. It's Instagramming that Have you seen? There was that girl recently that was like the "Cash Me Outside." How about that girl? Who did like an entire Instagram live stream about how she's not pretending to be black because her best friend is black and her boyfriend is black and her makeup artist is black. She's not trying to be black. And then the best bit, she then goes, who would want to be black?
I've seen the pictures of her where she's like blacked up and I'm like, girl, this is so offensive. Like, please just stop. Your surname is Brigoli. You sound like a discount pasta. Like, you're not. Like, stop it. Just stop it. And the worst thing that's ever happened to you is that you became a meme. Like, so black by association, that's literally it. That's what she thinks she is. Like, that's it. Discount pasta thinks that's what's happening. And yeah, no, it's offensive.
Yeah, massively. Okay, the next one is interprets everything as flirting.
I feel like that's a Danny thing.
I was going to say egret. I feel like
Really?
egret would be like, oh, you spoke to me, that's definitely flirting. Oh, you're touching me, that's definitely flirting. Because I feel like
it's
she's the
Danny.
biggest flirt. So I think, like, out of all of them, she's the one that would read into it because that's her motive behind her actions.
I mean, to be fair, she was predominantly surrounded by men, being the only woman, so she probably was right.
Yeah, I feel like interprets everything as flirting sort of inherently implies that you're not right all the time, and I feel like because she's quite a sophisticated flirt, I would say. So like she doesn't, you know what I mean? Like she's not like haplessly flirting with everything. She's like, I've got my eyes on you, so this is my beeline now. Whereas I feel like Danny's just like somebody's like, oh, my lady, I pledge my sword to you, and she's like, what is this disrespect? I am not an object of your desire. I'm fucking Khaleesi, Drogon, and then they set him on fire. Like,
why does she sound like an 80-year-old nun?
I'm sorry. I play with the hands I'm dealt. Like I can't do anything else.
But the last impression was so good.
Lightning can only strike once in my case.
That's fair.
You sound like the mother in Life of Brian.
Listen, I wasn't trying to do a thing. It's just trying to be funny.
He's a very naughty boy. So good.
She wears a hood like that as well, doesn't she?
She does. It's almost like it's the typical wear for a woman at a certain age.
I love how it's at a certain age, not in a certain era. No, at a certain age, you hit 80 and suddenly you just have to wear a headguard.
I can't compare pre-Christian Rome to like, you know, to Westeros.
Okay, so are we giving that one to Khaleesi then? Yeah.
I would vote for Khaleesi, but I know that you guys were voting for Egret.
Oh, I defended you.
I
was actually on your side for once, Sean.
Okay. Yeah, right up until we started taking the piss.
Khaleesi only needs one more point before she wins this round, by the way. This round that has only taken us an hour long. Makes a terrible first impression.
Oh, I feel like that's Egret.
I mean, Brienne of Tarth doesn't make a great first impression.
I was going to say, like, when I would think of terrible first impression, it's because then afterwards you see that they are different. So, like, you know, Daenerys, like, she's, the second you meet her, she's willing to set you on fire. And you could have hung out with her and been loyal to her for a year and she's still willing to set you on fire. So, you know, like, she doesn't make a great first impression, but it's a very honest first impression. Or with Brienne, it's like...
It's a bad first impression because actually she's so much better than she thinks she is. So her putting her best foot forward is kind of, it's not the whole truth. I think there's
awkward and she doesn't really know how to position herself with new people. But I still feel like Egret kind of like at first she comes off as being like very hard, very abrasive, very like would slit your throat at a moment's notice. But actually inside she's a bit of a softie. And she wants to do the right thing ultimately. And I feel like so just in terms of first impressions, I feel like Egret definitely makes a worse one than Brienne. Like at least you meet her and she's socially awkward, but then you can know her for a year and still know that she's socially awkward.
Yeah. So. I guess also if we're looking at the actual first impressions we had of them, Brienne's first scene is when she's fighting that soldier, and then she takes her helmet off and it turns out she's a woman. And I think that's quite a powerful first impression. Whereas Egret, she's just, although it's similar in that she's hidden in a crow, like pretending or whatever, and then she calls him a crow or whatever, and he's kind of stunned by the fact that she's a woman. She then immediately like kicks him in the balls. So maybe I think
more about Jon Snow than it does about.
He's like, oh my god, a woman! Haven't seen one of those in ages.
I've been on the wall for so long. I keep getting Sam to push his boy tits together.
That's such a horrendous image. That's made me really sad. Okay, I'm gonna give it to Egret, and I'm gonna try and never think about that ever again. Okay, next one has a dark side.
That's like, what do we do with
All of
this?
I feel like Gendry is the only one without a dark side. Like Gendry is all
Gendry
light
doesn't.
side. He's just a soppy little sod, isn't he?
He's like the little puppy.
I don't even know how much of a dark side Renly has. I mean, I know
Yeah,
he's
I think
ambitious and like, so he thinks he'll be a better king than Stannis and all of that, but I wouldn't say
He's
dark
sassy.
side.
Yeah, he's sassy and a bit rude, but he's ultimately good-hearted. So,
But we
and
just
even
go give it.
Brienne, I don't feel like she the only person I could possibly point at really is Dany, and that's because all the evidence points that way too. So
Yeah.
But like my rule of thumb in my head then was like, who's the person I would least want to be friends with? And it was like, I'd love to be friends with Renly. I'd love to be friends with Brienne. Gendry, fine. I'll leave him to you guys. You can keep him. Egret, possibly slightly terrifying. No fucking thank you, Daenerys Targaryen. So
yeah. Which means Dany is our drunk, stoned, and stupid for round 1.
nice one, Dany.
I really thought it was going to be Egret, actually. I think if we'd have had a lot more like drunk ones instead of social media ones, it would have definitely been Egret.
Egret or Renly, probably. Because they were the only other two with 4 each. Renly went from having none to 4 real quick.
Bless Renly.
Okay. Next 5.
Renly needs a hug. Renly needs a panda hug.
Speaking of panda hugs, we've got Jon Snow. We've got Theon Greyjoy. We've got Sansa Stark.
This is quite a good mix so far.
Well, they're all quite stern-faced, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't know how much fun these guys are going to be.
Stannis Baratheon.
Fucking hell, all right. We've got the fun crew.
This is a serious round. I know who would get the shouldn't have children in this round.
R.I.P. Stannis' kid.
And Septa Unella.
Yes!
Which one is Septa Unella? Is that at in season 1?
The same nun.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Septa Unella, my girl. I love how we had Padme when I dressed up as Padme, and then we had this time. I don't know if we got Yennefer when I was dressed up as Discount Yennefer.
Yeah, we did.
Because
we
had organised rounds then.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
It wasn't just picking it out the basket.
Okay. Oh, just stretch my back out.
I realised, Hannah, you need to have all of your laundry done for Mondays so that you can use your washing basket.
What do you mean?
That's not a washing basket.
It looked like a washing basket.
What's a washing basket?
The thing that your names are in.
Oh, no, this is literally just like a little...
Oh, okay.
What's she going to fit in there? A smalls?
This is where I usually keep like bath bombs and like fancy shower gels and things like that in these, so that it all like drains out when it's wet and stuff. But just and that way I
can do your play shopping with you at home when you can't get out. You want to pretend to go shopping. You can go shopping around the house.
I've got 2 of these. So my other one, I keep books in for videos. So I use this to carry books from my bedroom to my library.
You actually turned into Stella for a second there as well. It's like, carry my books.
Yeah. I'm like, books can be heavy, so I'm like, just stick them in a basket, you know. And because it's 2 flights of stairs, so it's a long old walk from my library to my bedroom.
Calm down.
Hannah low-key lives in a palace.
And I only ever film in this square.
We need to put some fairy lights across the back of the headboard, and then it's like proper basic bitch live stream.
I have got I bought like an LED strip, and I did think about putting. So like I'm just gonna turn this so where the crease in the the wall here is. I did think about having one like along there, so that when I have my videos, like I've got that in the background. But then I also was like, but then I'm sticking stuff to my wall for absolutely no reason. But I did think about maybe getting some like cute little fairy lights, but I don't. I really like, so the light that I'm using at the moment isn't a ring light, it's my alarm clock. And if I press a button, it will slowly get darker. I really like this light in my room and not having any other light.
Special alarm clocks.
Yeah, it's literally, so I'm just going to like...
I want one of those. Like, I'm really desperate for one.
Right.
It's called a Lumi.
Yeah, does it wake you up in a better mood?
It does, because it wakes me up slowly.
Keen.
So
Yeah.
it wakes me up with sunlight, and then
you can set it to like in a cat noise as well, can't you? Like it's not
it hasn't got a cat noise. It's got sheep, it's got birds, and it's got something else, but it hasn't got a cat noise.
The newest one has cats purring, which is what attracted me to it.
Priscilla's obviously not seen my video where I did my library tour.
Girl, it's insane. Priscilla, you're gonna be so upset because like she literally has like a fucking library, and I'll speak to her sometimes, and she'll be like, "I'm just in a
I'm all over the place as well.
I'm in my office. I'm in my room." Oh, and then like one time she was like, "Oh, Sian, sorry, I've got to go. I've got to go. Somebody's at the door." And then 15 minutes later, she came back, and I was like, "What did you do?" And she was like, "Oh, I just went and answered the door, but it's like down 5 flights of stairs."
So many stairs.
Christ.
It's because it's like an old Victorian building, so it's not particularly
It's not a home, it's a building.
It's all up. So you've got the top floor has 4 bedrooms, so 2 double bedrooms and 2 single bedrooms. One we've turned into like a kid's living room sort of thing, and the other one we've turned into my office, my bedroom, and my brother's bedroom. Then on the next floor down, you have my parents' bedroom, the library, and what used to be my bedroom before my mum turned it into a craft room. Then you've got the 2 bathrooms. One's a bathroom, one's a shower room. And then on the bottom floor, we have my dad's office, the living room, the kitchen/dining room, and a conservatory that also has like a little billiards room in it.
Billiards room.
Yeah.
And now, if anyone wants to rob Hannah's house, you know the exact floor plan?
Yeah, but they've got to know where I live first.
That's true. You live on an like I love how like Jet's from America, so an estate to him would mean something quite different to us. Like to us, an estate is where a cul-de-sac is, and like it sounds like you live in a manor house.
I really don't. I love that I'm giving that impression, but
I love the idea of you having a dungeon.
That would be good.
Oh, that's the one thing the house is missing.
It wouldn't be a fun dungeon though. It wouldn't be like a fungeon. It would just be like legit where you kept the broken pool sticks or the armor that your brother isn't using or books you've neglected to read for 100 years.
Yeah, like a wine cellar, but it's not got any wine in it.
Yeah, it's got rats and broken pool cues.
Yeah,
paddling pool from when you were kids that your mum can't bear to sell.
Yeah. It's just an old building, so a lot of the houses along our road have been turned into flats.
She's giving you geolocation now.
But it's just so it's just a case of ours just hasn't been turned into a block of flats yet. I'm sure whoever buys this off my parents will inevitably turn it into a block of flats, and that breaks my heart a little bit. But
just make it unsellable for that reason. Like turn one of the rooms into an occult sanctuary or something. I'll be like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I was hoping to like be able to put enough money together that I could buy it off my parents, but that's not going to happen not with this economy. That's not going to happen. Not on a writer's salary.
Oh, when you make it massive.
I know, if you Sarah J. Massett, put enough raunchy in there.
Yeah, that's a shout.
The problem is you're not sexing things enough.
Right.
Yep. It's the only way you sell sex. I mean, didn't you hear that thing that J.K. Rowling said where it's like when someone said to her, did you know that 50 Shades of Grey has surpassed Harry Potter in sales? And she was like, imagine what I could have done if I'd made Harry a bit more frisky with his wand.
That's grim.
Okay.
Did you see her tweet the other day about Quidditch when someone like tweeted her saying Quidditch doesn't make any sense, and she was like, it's a metaphor for the human condition, and like explains like how like you can chase one dream, but actually working together can also win. Sometimes life will beat you down, all this sort of stuff. It's like, and I was like,
it actually made perfect sense just as a game, to be honest.
The thing is, it doesn't need to. It's in a kid's book. It's fun. It's dynamic. It gives Harry something that he's actually good at in a world that he doesn't understand. Does it need to be any more than that? Like, fantastic. If she
Like,
in her very first panel, she'd sat there and talked about it and said, originally, I just wanted to create this fun game, and then it became this bigger thing. And for me, it becomes like the metaphor for the human condition. Fine. But in the response to a Twitter, like, it's just so ridiculous. If I do ever become a famous writer, both of you need to make sure that I don't tweet shit like that.
Yeah, don't add to the world afterwards. Don't hindsight the world. It's ridiculous. That's what I said on. So Daniel Green. Oh, Jesus Christ.
There you go, Hannah. You need to bin off the 7,000 other projects that you've got and start writing your SpongeBob vampire erotica.
Yeah. Wizard SpongeBob vampire erotica. Don't forget the wizard. They sell.
True.
Yeah. True,
but yeah, like on a Daniel Green video, he was doing like a tier list for magic systems or something, and he was talking about and world building. That was it. And he put Harry Potter quite low, and I was like, well, actually, the books themselves didn't need much more world building. They didn't need a whole world. It was a school. That was literally the point. And anything that was relevant to Harry, because you're following Harry, you don't need to know what the school is like in Japan. That doesn't matter. You learn about a couple of other schools because they do the Triwizard tournament, and then you learn everything else through Harry's point of view. So you see Hogwarts and the Ministry of Magic and a couple of other magical places, and it didn't need any more. So that was fine. My problem with her is all of her later on, I'm going to just keep building the world for no apparent reason. And it's like, but this doesn't mean anything. It's not in the books. It's like, I don't want to have to read through pages and pages of your tweets so that I know what on earth the world looks like. It was fine.
You can't just add canon to it via Twitter. That's not how that works.
Yeah, like I sort of like, obviously as somebody who hasn't read Harry Potter and doesn't have a lot to do with it outside of seeing the films a couple of times and like obviously paying attention to J.K. Rowling's George Lucasing of her fucking franchise. But I do think that like putting in that magic exists does have sort of wider implications for the rest of the world. And it does seem a little bit like, I understand when you're first starting off writing this thing, you wouldn't necessarily think like, well, what does magic mean as a wider implication for everything? But I think it does get to a point where certainly like when Harry's becoming an adult and he's going to be leaving the school soon, like that, and potentially as well, because Voldemort poses such a threat, not just to the wizarding world, but everyone, like what does magic mean to the rest of the world? And I think that like the Crimes of Grindelwald highlighted that most sort of like in the worst way, because it has a lot to do with the Jews in World War II. And it's like, so potentially magic could have stopped the Holocaust and it was allowed to continue because you didn't want Muggles to know that magic existed. Like, and it's like, so I feel like if you were gonna like look at the whole franchise, including its films, the world building is trash, and it does seem to say that like it does seem a little bit irresponsible to suggest that the whole view can only be contained within this school when Harry doesn't just exist within the school. He doesn't stop living when he leaves, like for the summer.
I agree with that. But what I mean is, for the context of the books, you only need what's for the context of the books. Like for a children's book, especially the last three, which are huge for children's books. I know they fall into YA as well, but for the target audience that started out on the first book, the last three books are massive and they are dense and they have a lot of stuff for their target audience to already try and digest, including like spells that are in a foreign language. Before you even begin to incorporate the rest of the world into it, you're seeing the last book is through the perspective of a 17-year-old boy who, in terms of the magical world, has actually been quite sheltered. That's kind of the point. He's almost too naive to go up against someone like Voldemort because people have been keeping him in the dark all of his life. So the thing is, if it had just stopped at book 7, all of the other stuff that she's posted is ridiculously unnecessary. Because it doesn't add to the story because it wasn't in the books. It's not part of the story. The story concluded. Yeah. So everything else is just hindsight. So I forgot to mention that there are more magic places.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just at this point, it's just cash grabbing, which I don't have a problem with. Like, if that's how you want to make your money, go for it.
Yeah.
The only reason it bothers me is because every time I tell someone that's not a writer or not a reader specifically that I'm a writer, they ask me if I'm going to be the next J.K. Rowling. And it's like, I don't want to be the next J.K. Rowling. I don't want to write one series of books that does really well, but then I'm incapable of writing anything else. Because have you guys read The Casual Vacancy?
No, but I have not heard anything about it.
Not even as like, oh well, I was expecting it to be like this and it wasn't. Like, I just really didn't like it. Stephanie Meyer wrote the Twilight series, and then she wrote The Host, and loads of people slated The Host because they were hoping it would be just like Twilight, and it's absolutely nothing like Twilight. And I think The Host as a sci-fi book is 1,000 times better.
It did Twilight. Quite well, I think. I think if she'd done the JK thing, and like obviously because JK published her like her Galbraith books under the Galbraith name, and then when they stopped, like when they weren't making any sales, that's when it like leaked that actually she was he. And I feel like if Stephanie Meyer had done the same thing, and you know, not necessarily pretending to be a guy, but if she just put a different name on The Host, I feel like that book would have been an outrageous success. Like, so I you know, so. But I do think that like J.K. Rowling has got George Lucas syndrome, and she keeps adding things onto her canon that don't make sense, aren't evidenced in the books, and are, as Faye says, quite unnecessary. So this is our TED talk on Harry Potter in the middle of our Game of Thrones.
I was going to say, I've literally watched the clock count down, so that we've gone from like, we've had literally the last 20 minutes has been all Harry Potter talk. So let's do some speed. Let's do some speed drunk, stoned and stupid then. Let's see if we can get let's do the first 3 just real quick. Okay, so the first one is a different person around their boyfriend/girlfriend.
I forgot who's in the round.
So we've got Jon Snow, Theon Greyjoy, Sansa Stark, Stannis Baratheon, and Septa Unella. I would go with Jon Snow.
Pre-mutilation, I would go with Theon.
Yeah, okay. Sean?
He's like really cocky.
I would
thinks he's really cool.
Because I feel like when he's not around someone that he's shagging, he's completely different. And then when he's around like Dany or Ygritte, he's like a bit of a softie. So I'm going to say
I think Theon's, I was going to say Theon is very, very similar in that pre-mutilation. But after season 2, he's very much the same the whole way through.
I suppose it's like bulk, isn't it? More of the season he is fucked up.
Only eats kale.
Fair enough.
Who's only going to eat kale? I'd say Sansa Stark. She's going to be the only one caring about her.
Yeah, Sansa.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was the thing?
Only eats kale.
Oh, I thought you were saying that Theon only eats kale.
No, I've said Sansa. I reckon it's the sort of thing Sansa would do.
Yeah.
Okay. Discovers meaning of life on a daily basis.
I feel like that's Septa Unella.
Well, yeah, she knows what the meaning of life is. It's to serve the one God.
It's to shame.
Chases shots by yelling.
I sort of feel like that's a Stannis thing.
Like, young Stannis, though. I can't imagine
young
older Stannis yelling.
Well, he wouldn't partake in a shot in the first place.
Yeah, I'd say pre-mutilated Theon is probably more likely to yell.
We really should have separated these into Theon Greyjoy and Reek. That would have been
that's true. Okay, in which case we'll go with Theon Greyjoy, I think.
Okay.
Theon Greyjoy, yeah.
Has old person tendencies.
Stannis.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that even a question? Always falls asleep on the couch.
Stannis.
Because he has old person tendencies.
He is an old person.
Owns crayons.
I feel like that's a Sansa thing. Like she'd have those like colouring in books that like hipsters have, where it's like, this relaxes me.
Plays drinking games for glory, not drinking.
Theon.
Yeah.
Theon.
Thinks reality TV is real.
Stannis.
I don't think he'd even watch it.
Oh, he wouldn't watch it, and that's why he'd think reality TV must be real, because he's like, but it's in the name.
I feel like it would be Septa Unella, because I feel like she would watch it, and she'd be like,
shame.
Shame.
Yeah, like I feel like Stannis would be like, this is all fake bullshit. Like he'd see through it, but Septa Unella would be like, this is the state of the world. This is decay. So.
Cried when Mufasa died.
I feel like that's Jon
Sansa?
Snow as a bastard.
He's gonna cry. Never texts you back.
I feel like that's Sansa.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sansa. I think
But she's
Theon Greyjoy.
obsessed over what's his face over Joffrey.
Well, yeah, but I reckon adult Sansa, like she grows to be that person where she's just not going to take it back. Theon Greyjoy, when that prostitute he liked left, was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you." I feel like he's needy. He's a needy boy.
Okay, fair enough. I was just thinking like early Sansa, where it's like, Joffrey had my wolf killed, but he's pretty.
Yeah, but she ignores her whole family in the meantime, and there's definitely that person who will reply to their boyfriend in a second, but they will not reply to you ever.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
and I think also she doesn't blame Joffrey for that. She blames
No.
Arya for that.
Oh yeah.
So I think that becomes
And then never text her again.
Yeah. So that means Sansa is our first of 3 for that one. So we can take our time a bit more now. I just thought we needed to get to that point because we've obviously spent
We
so long
didn't even
about...
use our custom ones.
No. So that's what I'm saying. So now that we're at 3, we can do our custom ones for this round, and then we'll do to 5 and see who wins it. But I just wanted to make sure that we had one person to 3 first, so that we weren't like getting to the end of the round and being like, "Well, that's been 2 hours. I'll see you later."
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cool. Okay, so Sian, what's your next improv?
Is this for the same 5, or are we doing a new set of 5?
Same 5.
Same 5.
Okay. I put would give money to a Nigerian prince.
I would go with Sansa on that one.
I think Stannis. I think he's the most socially inept.
In fairness, there are lots of things that Stannis did that other people would be like, "Dude, no, I'm not doing that." So I feel like, yeah, he's probably the most likely to be like, "This sounds ridiculous, better give it a go."
Fair enough. All right, 2 against 1. Faye, what's your next one?
Mine's actually my favourite Cards Against Humanity one, which is most likely to leave passive-aggressive post-it notes.
Oh shit!
Love that. That's a Sansa thing, surely.
I have had a housemate like that. I feel like that is Sansa.
Sansa or Septiunella.
Oh, yeah, that's a point. I feel like Septiunella would leave passive-aggressive, like, biblical verses.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like she'd do that. Like, if you left, like, a cup or something on the side once too often, you'd just go into your room and the cup would be in the middle of your floor. Like, I feel like she wouldn't send a post-it note. She would send a message.
Okay, yeah. In which case, I will give it to Sansa. That's fair.
I mean, Sansa was my first instinct anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. I've got most likely to burn themselves trying to do a barbecue.
I feel like that's a Stannis thing, knowing his relationship with fire.
That's true. Yeah, he does burn himself with that.
Oh no! Come on, girl.
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. So we've got Sansa and Stannis are both on 4. Jon Snow is on 2. Theon is on 2, and Septiunella is on 2. So really, it's between Sansa and Stannis as to who's going to get the next card. Let's have a look. Offers to host a Super Bowl party, but then doesn't show up.
Oh shit! I don't feel like he'd offer to throw a party.
He wouldn't offer to throw the party in the first place.
No,
I feel like that's a Theon thing, because he'd be like, "Yeah, it'll be sick," and then he'll like find some girl. He's like, "Do you wanna?" And he'd be like, "Yep, okay, bye."
Yeah.
Or Jon Snow, like if he's trying to get like in with his brothers and stuff, like Jon Snow before he goes to the war, where they're like all hanging out and buddies. He's like, I don't actually like this shit. It's just that you guys do, so I'm kind of throwing the party for you.
But I feel like he would show up if it was his brothers. I think if it was, whereas Theon, I think he'd be easily distracted enough that if he was like, he could be mid-party and then disappear. Okay, the next one is always tells the same damn story.
Septiunella. Shame.
Shame. I was going to say Stannis. I feel like Stannis.
I was going to say Stannis.
No, I was going. My thought was Stannis. I just thought it would be funny if like her only word was the same thing she says all the time.
Yeah, I feel like she'd probably have a different, like, highly upsetting proverb for every situation, whereas Stannis is always going to be like, "Let me tell you about how I was robbed of my crown." Like,
Yeah.
Honey, what do you want for dinner? And he's like, did you know what happened with my crown? And she's like, for fuck's sake.
Okay. Right, round 3 then. I'll pick 3 names and then you guys can have a name each if it hasn't come up already, I think.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay.
Well, what? No, you need to pick one too. So pick 2 names and then we'll all pick one each.
Okay. Okay, the first name is Ramsay Bolton.
Ooh.
This
Love
round
that.
got dark.
Yeah, we had the boring people in the last round, and we're going to have all the evil people in this round.
Yeah, that's the way it's fallen so far.
Next one's going to be the red woman.
Marcella Baratheon.
Oh, she's all right.
Who, let's be honest, is actually Marcella Lannister.
I was going to say, I was going to put her as Lannister, but then I was like, that she never actually changes her name to Lannister. She's still a Baratheon.
I don't think that the children ever acknowledge their lineage, do they?
No.
Right.
We've got Marjorie Tyrell.
Yes.
That's too many. You're only supposed to pick 2.
But I probably would have picked Marjorie Tyrell, to be fair.
Okay,
So,
fair.
So would have
go on
I,
then, Faye.
to be
Who have we not had that you would like to have as your champion?
fair.
Bronn. And Sean?
Viserys.
Viserys is gonna win.
Probably. Or Marjorie, I reckon.
Yeah. Or possibly Bronn. I feel like we've not got too bad of a round.
No.
It's only really Marcella, I reckon, unless it's...
Marcella's going to get absolutely nothing because she's a child, and like none of us would feel comfortable putting any of these things on her unless it was plays with dolls in free time, and then we'd be like, Marcella.
Collect Beanie Babies.
And that's actually still Ramsay.
Yeah, calls her mum every day.
Yeah, okay. The next card then is a mooch. So someone who kind of scrounges off someone else.
Bronn.
Yeah. Just because he can,
although,
you know?
Although Viserys does kind of ride on the fact that people want to shag his sister.
Yeah, but I think he also puts some work into that.
Mm.
I wouldn't call him a mooch.
No, he takes what he thinks he is owed. Bronn takes what he thinks you'll give him. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Whatever he can get.
Yeah.
Change his song every 30 seconds.
Ramsay.
Yeah, I guess he's quite changeable.
I don't know. I feel like I would have gone for like Viserys over that. I feel like he would have been like, oh no, like it's this song's the best. Oh no, wait, this song's reminded me of this song. We need to put this one on now. Like, I feel like he's a skipper.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I'd almost say Marcella just because as a child she's got a short attention span.
Oh, we've got a 3-way tie.
3-way tie. We're going to need the audience to help us out.
Oh no!
Ramsay, Marcella, or Viserys? I wonder. I mean, I don't know. I just see it as that's something she would do, especially if she's dancing to it. I feel like she'd be like, no, this one.
Yeah. Also, possibly being in fear of other people listening in. Like she hears footsteps outside her room, and she's like, "Shit! I can't listen to Akon when my mom's in the palace." Like,
I'm trying to imagine her listening to Akon, and also because all I can think of is Akon and Lonely Island.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that once we're done, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Priscilla's answered first, so we'll give it to Marcella.
Yeah.
Well done,
Thank you, Priscilla.
You got in there.
Okay. Next one is eats leftover drunchies for breakfast. Drunchies we discussed last time are the foods you buy when you're drunk but don't eat.
It's surprising that people don't know what they are. Like, I've done this too often. I am the drunchies. Well done, Priscilla.
I reckon that's Bronn.
Just eat it.
Yeah,
Marcella
Bronn
wouldn't have ordered it because she's a child. I wouldn't have been getting drunk.
I feel like I can see Marjorie sort of the next day eating a fucking kebab or something, and someone would be like, Marjorie, and she'd be like, I
No.
paid for it.
I can't see that at all. I see Marjorie. She not only got you drunk, she didn't get as drunk as you thought she was, and she got up nice and early to go for a run to keep her figure in shape.
Oh my god, yeah, okay.
And like has a perfect breakfast. She's like, I'm gonna have fruit salad this morning.
Avocado on toast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who have you gone for? I feel like Bron would eat it
Bron.
all in one go. I don't feel like he would even leave things.
No,
for
he
the
wouldn't
What if
next
he got
day.
so drunk that he passed out before he actually got to eat it?
Oh yeah, he'd just wake up with the kebab still in his mouth and then just carry
and
on
he'd be like, kebab.
Yeah, no, okay, Bron.
Yeah, okay. Next one is goes to a party dressed as a wizard / shaman / minotaur. So this is kind of the opposite to the card I pulled for us this morning.
I don't know about this one.
Well, I can't see any of them
No.
dressing up as those things. I can
can't
see
see
a
them
couple of them
dressing
dressing up, but I can't see them dressing up as that, if that makes sense.
No, I agree.
Well, the only one with a sense of humor at all, really, in this round, and I don't mean like because we find amusing, but actually has a sense of humor, is Bron.
But I don't feel like he'd dress up as a minotaur or a shaman. Like, I feel like he'd dress up as a princess before he did that.
I feel like he'd dress up as a shaman if there were actual shamans there and he could piss them off. Like if he was
That's a
going
lot
to a
of
cult.
context.
Sorry, I got distracted then by that Twitter drama from earlier.
But it's like he's the only person I can think of that there would at least be a circumstance in which he would dress up as something, even if it was literally to offend someone. Like there isn't anyone that I think would even remotely come close to getting dressed up.
Who did you say?
Bron.
All right, okay. Sorry, like I said, I got distracted by Twitter for a second. So
Terrible host.
I know, that's really bad. It's really bad of me. I didn't even realise that my phone was buzzing, and then I was like, oh, it's on, and then anyway.
I guess so. Like just by virtue of the fact that literally nobody else even like has like any inclination at all.
Yeah, like mine is just like rule of elimination as opposed to yes, it's definitely this person. It's like he's the least likely, like he's the one that would be less inclined to disagree to do that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, we're at our first 3. So did you want to use your last improv?
Ooh, that's exciting. You can go first, Hannah.
Okay. I wrote a few down, so I'm just trying to pick one of the good ones.
Maybe you should just do them all.
No. Because some of them are really bad. Because I was just like I was like trying to come up with them earlier, and I was like, some of these are funnier than others. Okay, which one preferred the original film, not the remake?
Ooh.
So as in like they're that pretentious person that's like the original was better. They didn't need to remake Ocean's 11 with women. That one.
I'm not person. That's me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Ramsey might be a secret film buff.
Yeah, I'd say either Ramsey or Viserys.
But with Viserys, I feel like he'd be the kind that would complain.
Yeah, I didn't imagine it as more of like a film buff thing, but more in that they are so stuck in their ways they don't want it changed.
Yeah,
because I was quite like that with the Lion King. I haven't watched the new Lion King because I'm like, well, I really like the animated, so do I need another one?
Yeah, oh no, but that's like that's a different thing though, isn't it? Like being too stubborn to admit that something could be better is very different to objectively like wanting, like feeling that the original of something is better to a new thing, because objectively the old Lion King is better than the remake. Like so like I don't like, you know, and I would argue that the new Ocean's 11 wouldn't be I haven't seen it, but I can't imagine it being as good as the original just because like not because women, but because like it happened at a certain period of time. The humor is a particular way. It's delivered by certain actors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
The type of sets back then versus now makes a huge difference as well.
Yeah.
So like, I guess
it hadn't really been done like that before as well. Like as a film on its own, it was really, really clever. Like the constant use of plot twists and things like that. We almost expect that in cinema now. But we're going to end up sidetracking onto a completely different fandom again. So
I guess I just need some like clarification. Are we talking about somebody who's too stubborn to even entertain the idea that something could be better, or are we talking about somebody who's just like a pretentious film buff?
No, they've watched both and they're like they've decided the original is better.
Okay. Because stubborn, not because objectively better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know actually. Like I feel like that's a tough one.
I might go with you, Faye, and just say Ramsay Bolton.
I said Viserys.
I said
did we? I
Ramsay.
thought you did. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm got those confused.
I
So we
just
go
feel like
Viserys then?
I just feel that Viserys is really pretentious, so he would be that way inclined.
And also, rather than setting up a new kingdom like Danny did, he was adamant he was going to have his old one back.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And in fairness, like Ramsay's sort of the opposite, isn't he? Where he sort of wants to like move things forward. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point.
Cool. All right, Faye, your turn.
Oh crap! I forgot now. What was it? It was. I can't remember. Do yours? Do you think so?
I've got another one on my list. I can pick another one. Collects Beanie Babies.
Collects Beanie Babies.
I'd love for it to be.
She's a baby.
I'd love for it to be Ramsay, but it's definitely Marcella.
Yeah, Marcella for sure. Go on then, Sean.
Mine was. Let me just double check here. It was doesn't wash their legs / feet.
Oh, it's a meme. Bronn.
I feel like Bronn doesn't wash anything.
No.
Questionable hygiene.
He's a dirty boy.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like somebody like Ramsay would like he is that absolute disgusting person who washes everything but his legs and feet because the water's got there anyway. And it's like, no, you disgusting cretin. I mean, instant turn off for me. Like if Gendry was like, I wash everything, doing the feet.
So good.
No, I hate it. Like, why do people feel like their feet and their legs aren't clean or are clean because they stood in some water? Like,
okay, so are we going for Bronn or Ramsay then?
I don't feel like Faye's had a say.
I mean, both of those technically apply, but I'd go with Bronn just because he is dirtier all over.
That means Bronn is our drunk, stoned, and stupid of this round.
Well done, Bronn.
For the final round, then we have Khaleesi, Stannis Baratheon, and Bronn.
I mean, depending on the questions, any of them could win. It completely depends on the questions.
Yeah. Well, one of the other ones that I wrote down is obsessed with yoga.
Which is
I thought you said Yoda for a second then. I was like, very cute.
Is obsessed with yoga. Not that they can do yoga, it's just obsessed.
Then Bronn, because he likes watching it.
Yeah. I could see, like, if there was a whole bunch of ladies doing, like, an old yoga class, and he's just like...
As soon as someone does the downward dog, he's like, that's it, lass.
Get in there, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
I only wrote down 3 sort of alternative ones, so that's all of mine.
That's fair enough. Did you remember what yours was, Faye?
Demands foot massage daily.
That's got to be Khaleesi, surely.
Yes.
Do you agree, Sean?
More fun in the previous round, but yes.
Yeah, no, that would definitely have been Khaleesi.
Yeah, I'll give that one to her then.
I can't imagine Stannis Baratheon being like, "Oi,
demanding a foot massage.
Red lady, come give me a foot massage."
And we have already declared that Bronn has nasty ass feet, so.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you'd be like, "Oh, my feet are well sore." Tyrion, come and give these a rub, and he'd be like, "You're disgusting. You're gross and a half-wit."
Okay, so let's do the cards then.
Okay.
Could network at a funeral.
Oh shit. That is some shit. That is some shit.
I feel like Stannis would. Not
I don't
necessarily
know.
could, would.
I feel like he would just stand there being grumpy about having to attend a formal affair. Bronn would be at the bar chatting to the barkeep because he wouldn't give a shit about any of this
He
stuff.
chat of the widow. What are you talking about?
And Khaleesi would be like, "Did you know I'm the mother of dragons? Do you pledge allegiance to my empire?" So I feel like it's definitely her, like, because she's just got no social awareness.
Fair enough. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Also, in answer to the question, are we drunk? I don't. These two aren't. I've had 2 glasses of wine, so I think out of everyone, I'm probably the most drunk, even though I'm not.
Well, Priscilla almost lost us. Her dog kicked the laptop fell out.
It's okay. We forgive Baloo because she is beautiful.
Cute.
He is. So
actually reads the instructions.
Stannis.
Yeah, for sure. He helped write the instructions.
He is the instructions.
Wakes up with half of a burrito in their bed.
Bronn.
Only Bronn is disgusting enough to have half of any kind of food sustenance in his bed.
Yeah,
and the thing is, he's not woken up with it because it was there from last night. He's woken up with it. I mean, how long's that been there?
Yeah, it's from 3 weeks ago.
I haven't had a burrito this week. What?
It's going straight to hell.
All of them.
Every single one. Every single one.
Literally, Bronn is the least likely in the larger scheme of things.
Really?
I mean, if he hasn't set fire to his daughter,
yeah,
nor an entire city.
No. Okay, so are we going with the city burning then?
I don't know, because I feel like I can't forgive the entire city thing, but like having a daughter from the day that she is born and loving and look after her and then still letting her be burned alive because you want to achieve something is that's a very different kind of evil to being so fucking angry that you don't care who gets hurt. Like I feel like there's so much more intent to hurting someone that you love, who loves you unconditionally. Like, and so I would say out of like Stannis is the one going to hell the most because he didn't just hurt like strangers, he hurt people who loved him.
Yeah,
so.
You're right. Okay, refers to themselves in third person.
Daenerys.
That's got to be Daenerys, isn't it? Your queen has decided.
Yeah, you will listen to your queen. Are you not her?
Well, technically that's second person. But makes Facebook status about someone. Makes a Facebook status someone's name whilst searching for them.
Oh God,
that's Stannis.
I don't know. I don't feel like it gives a shit to look people up. I feel like that's a Dany thing. Like she wants to know what everybody's doing all the time.
Dany would know how to use social media.
Yeah, we've already said that.
Stannis would know how to use fucking Facebook. Like I think out of the 3 of them, Dany's the most likely to know what she's doing.
Yeah, I can't see Stannis using Facebook correctly, so I've given it to Stannis. Okay, has to check in with parents first. None of them care what their parents think.
Everyone an orphan.
Yeah. Next, is obsessed with their own butt.
I feel like that's a Dany thing.
Yeah. She's like, this thing can carry an army, okay?
Although, Bronn's not far behind.
Bronn looking at his own butt like, this thing's carried an army.
You know what?
Yeah, I can see Bronn admiring his own booty. Right.
Yeah, I can see Bronn just being like, do you know what? I get it. I see why the ladies just keep coming. I get it.
Yeah. Do you know what I've realised? There's not been a single phrase out of context yet that I've been like, I need to make a note of that, except for this ass has carried an army. That's the first thing I'm like, I need to make a note of that. Okay. Has a 3-hour conversation about space.
Stannis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stannis and Khaleesi are on 4. Bronn is on 2. So, you know, tense. Will only speak to you via text.
I feel like that's Dany.
Yeah.
Like she could be in the same room as you, and you'd be like, "Are you ready to go out yet?" And she'd be like, "Oh, yes," is the answer. Okay, girl. Like,
Which makes Danny our drunk, stoned, and stupid.
I'm just loving the idea of Daenerys's WhatsApp being like her full name. So it's like, Daenerys Stormborn, mother of dragons, blah blah blah, says yes.
That's too much. It's too much.
Well done, Danny.
Yeah, congratulations. Ruler of all of Westeros and drunk, stoned, and stupid.
We'll have a super round at some point where the ultimate winners of every drunk, stoned, and stupid have to face off against each other.
Yes. Oh, I'm here for that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But we're not back next week. We're taking a week off, and then we're going to do something else fandom related. Because I really enjoy us talking about fandoms and stuff, and I like the fact that we keep deteriorating into lots of different fandoms as well. So that could be quite interesting. So we will still do lives, but we're taking a break next week, and we've run out of cards for drunk, stoned, and stupid. That's why we had to start coming up with our own. So.
The closet cosplay will continue in another way another time.
I'm excited. I had to take that armor off though because that was so uncomfortable. Where it's just like sat in my neck. I'm just like. What?
Yeah, cheers for everyone who comments though. It's always appreciated. Like we love interacting.
Thanks to everyone.
It definitely changes things.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially for tiebreakers, it's very helpful.
Yeah. So you're all the best, and we look forward to seeing you in a fortnight or so.
Yeah, cool. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time.
Bye.
Bye.